this afternoon to join with the residents of Grandfond in partaking in the official signing of the contract between the Government of Dominica, represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministries for Sports, Culture and Community Development, and the contractor, Regional Contractors Incorporated, for the construction of the Grandfond storm drain, which is funded under the BNTF, or Basic Need Trust Fund, 9th program. This 9th program is part of the 3 key areas, strategic areas that the bank in collaboration with government is focusing on. And in terms of infrastructure development, we're looking at access and drainage, education and human resource development, and water and sanitation. And of course, the project today falls under access and drainage. And for us in Grandfond, access and drainage is very important since you recently had your access being upgraded, but now we have to make sure we mitigate against all the ills and the necessary perils that could come about as a result of natural disasters. So it is indeed for us a very auspicious occasion to ensure that we are ensuring that Grandfond is part of government focus in terms of we becoming the first climate resilient country of the world. And we have to do it one step at a time, one village at a time. And of course today, Grandfond is the first step in that direction. Indeed, there's a lot to be said about the project, and I will leave it up to the BNTF manager, Mr. Matthew Carrett, who will give you a broader understanding and appreciation of the project.
For us at BNTF, what started up this morning and continues this afternoon is a testament to what BNTF is all about. And it's all about touching lives in a simple way, but in a very effective way. The BNTF mandate is to provide access to basic services to poor, needy, and vulnerable communities. And this afternoon we are here to witness the groundbreaking for what we would say is a long-awaited project. I just want to salute Mr. Luis, because I remember the many times that he came to BNTF, or he called, or should I say, he kept us busy, because he really pushed for that project. But then there's the saying that goes, good things come to those who wait. So I know that Mr. Luis has waited for a long time, and today, Mr. Luis, it is indeed a pleasure, to see this come through, while he still addresses us as the chairman of the Grandfond Village Council. We at BNTF, we understood very well the need for such a project. And to just give us just a brief background, when projects were being determined, I was on the BNTF-7. The matrix was done. We had assistance from CDB, social analysts, and I'm just advising that of the many projects we had before us, when the matrix was done, Grandfond storm drain was actually in the top 3. Yes. So what the matrix used, so we understood the importance of that project. But as was explained, the circumstances came, and it was really because of the passage of Erica, when other priorities became necessary for the government, and the focus was placed, and rightly so, on water restoration, that project had to be deferred. I can say to you that it was in an advanced stage of appraisal by the bank, having been top, in the top 3 on the list. But what the bank always does, just give some brief. Whenever you have these natural disasters or some emergency, CDB always requests of government, do we still keep projects or do we have other priorities? That's one thing the bank always does. And as explained, the priority became water restoration. So as such, we had to quote unquote disappoint Mr. Luis for a little while and say to him that other things are taking priority. But there was always the understanding that for BNTF-9, projects deferred on the BNTF-7 and 8 would receive priority on the BNTF-9. And we're here today. Grandfond did receive priority on the BNTF-9. We understand, the damage that was caused by the heavy rains, all the erosions, and the need for proper drainage in the community. So basically, the works really involve construction of concrete drains, and there are two parts of the community that will be working. There's the western section known as Boulevard, and it's a long drain, in excess of 2,100 feet of drain, box drain. And there's this other section, this is about 330 feet, and that's the section that we're going to have the groundbreaking in a while. In addition to the drains, we're going to construct catch pits, and in some areas, retaining walls. We want to repair and construct some culvert crossings, do some road reinstatement when necessary. We want to install garbage screens, and we want to remove all the sediments and garbage and vegetation. So our aim at the end of this is to have a project that is both functional and aesthetically pleasing. Because in BNTF we married two, was both functional, but it must look good. So, as I end, I want to say to the contractor something which was echoed by Mr. Luis. While we cannot dictate, to the contractor who to employ, but because of the nature of BNTF, which is about building capacity in communities, we have always encouraged, and I said encouraged, we cannot mandate, but we have always encouraged the contractors that where possible, and as much as possible, to use local labor. And I trust, that will happen, Mr. Contractor. So as I leave here this afternoon, occasions like this really make us feel happy at BNTF, because there's a lot of work involved, a lot of paperwork, and there's a lot of protocols and a lot of procedures. But when it comes to the time that we are actually seeing the tangibles, or we are about to see the tangibles, we are going to sign a contract. The project is about to begin. And after all this wait, I can say to you that for us it is a great joy knowing that what you waited for, what you really needed, is going to become a reality. I can only hope and ask that when it's done, that you take care of it, because part of BNTF is to build ownership in the community. A lot of money is going to be spent on this project. What we would expect from you is not to litter the drains and to really value it, because the funds for it do not come easy. And from the list of projects that we get a lot. So whenever they are selected, it means that you're highly considered, and we can only ask that you take ownership of the project. And one way to take ownership is to ensure that there's no vandalism, there's no dirtiness, and you have to maintain it. Thank you very much.
Of course, I would just say, besides no dirtiness, there have to be regular routine servicing of the drain, which is keeping the drain clear from all debris and all siltation that would possibly come through. It was by no error, I don't think, Mr. Luis, you call deceased Robert name by error. I know very much the sentiment of a mom is still very much alive in Honorable Roberts. Of course, it was by no coincidence that she was the minister responsible for community development when this project came into conceptualization. So it's indeed for me a very distinguished privilege to call to the podium the parliamentary representative for the Grandfond constituency, Honorable Gertrude Roberts. Greta Roberts.
A blessed good afternoon to you all. And as I always say, whenever we have a function in Grandfond that is so meaningful, we always have showers of blessing. So welcome to the City of Rain. I should probably start by saying finally. Finally, finally. In local parlance, I could probably say dépile. Because I've been hearing about that storm drain for a very long time. And today I am just proud and just happy to know that I am there, representing my mother as well, to see the commencement of this project. These words will echo a sense of relief and excitement for the people of Grandfond. We have waited patiently, and today we should surely breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that we are finally going to witness the commencement of this long-awaited project. Only yesterday afternoon, the city of Roseau was buzzing as people gathered in anticipation of winning the biggest jackpot ever. But the people of Grandfond were not perturbed at all. Not that we didn't want to win the jackpot, but we knew that a jackpot was coming our way. Yes, BNTF has given us this opportunity in its own jackpot of over $1.2 million towards this project. I think they deserve a round of applause. So those who bought tickets yesterday, you have won. Over the past years, BNTF has invested heavily in the community. I really thought we were special when I saw the amount of projects that you all had done in the community, until I attended the function this morning and realized, but we're not so special at all, man. Your generosity spans a lot of communities. So far, you have undertaken the Monjon Preschool Extension in BNTF-4, the Grandfond Back Street, BNTF-4, the Rivier Cyric Daycare, BNTF-4, the Grandfond Primary School, where we are presently, BNTF-4, Laquec Road in Rivier Cyric, BNTF-4, Montfouegard Road in Rivier Cyric, BNTF-6, Tayam Road Upgrade, Rivier Cyric, BNTF-6, and the Grandfond Water Supply, BNTF-6. We are now at BNTF-9, and we are happy to welcome this project. And I hope this is not the end, because I will have some coming up. All these projects have had a significant impact on the lives of the people of Grandfond, Monjon, and Rivier Cyric. And this storm drain project is no exception. As Minister responsible for citizen empowerment, I want to acknowledge and applaud the work that BNTF is doing across the island. I am aware that projects undertaken by BNTF are as a result of the engagement of citizens in community and national development. Our ministry defines citizen empowerment as providing opportunities and access to citizens so as to develop their capabilities so that they can actively participate in the development and decision-making of their own communities. I do hope that this project will provide much-needed employment for my constituents and, of course, a welcomed source of income. This government continues to emphasize the critical significance of climate resilience. Given our experience with weather conditions in this community, including tropical storms, hurricanes, and even heavy rainfall, we in this constituency view disaster mitigation as a key priority. The existing storm drain is an eyesore, and I must confess, a major undertaking. My councillors and I know fully well. I have walked the walk. I have climbed over drains. I have scaled through the backyards of many a resident, all to witness firsthand the challenges that beset us here in this community. This storm drain in Grandfond has posed a challenge for us in the past, and it has caused major flooding in the community because of our heavy, constant rains. We are in the hurricane season, and we are reminded that we must concentrate our efforts on protecting our community from these natural hazards. Let me, therefore, on behalf of all the constituents, thank the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Community Development and the staff of the BNTF for your hard work in making this BNTF-9 project a reality, not only in the constituency, but around Dominica. I look forward to the commencement and the completion of this project. I thank you.
Today's contract signing ceremony focuses on one of 6 contracts for undertaking work projects under 2 strategic sectors, namely access and drainage, and as the one for this morning, education and human resource development. BNTF projects are on the 3 categories, and the projects we are signing this week, we are on a roll this week, signing a number of projects on the BNTF-9 program, and this one today is on the access and drainage. The BNTF process itself is one of active participation and empowerment of community people. So not only are projects just implemented, but it is implemented with the active participation of leaders and community members in terms of project preparation, project implementation, project monitoring. So the community forms an integral process, an integral part of the process, from even doing the point of doing the needs assessment onwards. So that is also very important because not only do you invest over $1 million in the people, but it creates an impact on the lives of the people. Due to heavy rainfall, and we experience it today, frequent rainfall and runoff, some sections of the community's storm drainage system over the years have become eroded and filled with vegetation. In addition, the existing earth drains are opened, causing massive buildup of garbage, and which in turn causes the collection of stagnant water at various points within the drain. The collection of stagnant water is also a breeding ground for mosquitoes and possible infectious disease. So not only are we addressing, or through this project, the issue of runoff water, managing runoff water, but it is also trying to ensure the health and well-being of community members. And we know what infectious disease can do. We are now experiencing one that has brought the world to its knees, called the COVID-19. So whatever we can do to prevent infectious diseases is very good for the health and well-being of the people. As we said, the project is over $1 million and will ensure proper drainage in 2 sections. Mr. Carrett has defined the project. So in that way, we are alleviating the various risks that we spoke about. We are reducing the community's vulnerability to disasters, and to mitigate the possible effects of climate change. And as you know, our government the Prime Minister has articulated the vision of Dominica becoming the #1 climate resilient country in the world. And projects like these are contributing to ensuring that the communities can be resilient. So with proper drainage is an element of ensuring climate change resilience in the community. The population of Grandfond is about over 600, and so over 600 people in this community will benefit from the project. So the government, through the BNTF, has been investing very heavily in the various communities to empower communities, to improve the quality of lives of families within those communities. And we cannot underestimate or underemphasize the investment that the Basic Needs Trust Fund is doing in various communities in Dominica. You heard from Honorable Roberts the number of projects that have been undertaken through BNTF in the community. And several communities across the country can speak the same way, outlining a number of projects that has brought relief or has reduced vulnerabilities, has alleviated poverty of the people of Dominica. I know in my community we have benefited from projects under the Basic Needs Trust Fund, a recent one being the Calibishi River Wall. And so we are grateful. We will continue my ministry will continue the good work that is started since 1979, and increasingly we do work in the community through BNTF. And so we are grateful for such work, and as Ministry of Community Development, Sports and Culture, we hope that communities can continue to be empowered and can continue to benefit from this program. We want to say thank you to the staff of the Basic Needs Trust Fund, and we want to encourage the community of Grandfond to ensure that they own the project, to ensure that they buy in, and I also hope and expect that employment, short-term employment will be created for the people of Grandfond through this project. So through the various projects, community people continue to benefit from income and employment as well. So thank you very much, and the people of Grandfond, do take care when these drains are completed. Make sure that they remain clear and clean, or else you will not reap the very benefit of the project that you expect. If the drains are clogged, you will have this same overflow that you are trying to prevent. So do take care of the project, see it as your own, and help us to continue to help you. Thank you very much.
Honorable Rosalind Cole, Minister of Sports, Culture and Community Development. Honorable Greta Roberts, Minister for Governance, Public Service Reform, Citizen Empowerment, Social Justice and Ecclesiastical Affairs, and Parliamentary Representative for the Grandfond constituency. Mr. Matthew Carrett, Project Manager, BNTF. Other Ministers of Government, Mr. Augustus Lewis, Chairperson of the Grandfond Village Council, Mr. Lucian Blackmore, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Sports, Culture and Community Development, Pastor Trevor Prince, villagers, member of the media, councillors, past and present. A pleasant good afternoon to all. In everything we do, we give thanks with a grateful heart. And this afternoon, I am here on behalf of the Village Council and villagers of Grandfond, especially the residents of Boulevard, to say a big thank you to the Basic Needs Trust Fund and the government of Dominica for this long-awaited storm drain project. This project will indeed create employment opportunities and protect the lives and property of the residents who live near it. We all know that storm drains will help in making the government's goal to make Dominica a climate-resilient island become a reality. Thank you to the hard-working PALREP for all your efforts. Thank you to Mr. Luis for always checking up on the project. Thank you to the village councillors who gave him the support. Thanks in advance to the contractor, and the community looks forward for an excellent work. Once again, thanks to all who made this possible, and God bless you.